everyone, Albert here. Today I want to talk about perspective in both a drawing technique and a parallel that it has in a way of looking at the world. Perspective was actually developed in the Renaissance, and it was developed as a way to model the three-dimensional world in two-dimensional drawings. So the process is really set up to set up vanishing points, either two or one vanishing point. The one vanishing point might be in the middle of a hallway or middle of a room, and elements toward that central point, the vanishing point, are very tiny, and the elements far away are larger, and that creates the illusion of three-dimensionality, which mimics what actually a camera sees. And at that same time, when this technique of perspective was developed, the Renaissance notion of the Renaissance man was popularized. This idea of the lone genius who could both create beautiful art, beautiful music, invent wonderful things like Leonardo da Vinci. That idea has persisted to this day, I would say, and we still celebrate individuals like Thomas Edison, or more recently Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, and we celebrate that sort of heroism, that overcoming odds, the power of the individual. And opposite to that, and sort of on a parallel plane with this idea of the individual and celebrating that individual vantage point, is this idea of non-duality, which is this notion that the individual is an illusion. The separation from everything else is really an illusion that is established by this thing we call the ego. And I'll talk more about the ego in another video, but it's a competing notion against this idea of the heroic individual. And in art, one example of the individual vantage point would be the very famous Last Supper painting by Leonardo da Vinci. And in contrast, there are examples in art history, from the art in India, from the art in Japan, primitive cave paintings even. And today, or more recently, there are artists like Jackson Pollock or Mark Rothko, which is about, I would argue, is taking a sort of non-dualistic view of the world, or a non-perspectival view of the world, and looking at beauty that way. And it's a very interesting way to think about beauty in design solutions, to look at them either from that point of non-dualism or the point of the heroic creation of a particular individual. So I'd love to get into this topic some more in future videos, but I hope you found this of interest. If you did, please do subscribe, and we'll talk again.